Hello and welcome. I recently watched the movie The Pale Blue Eye, a new movie to release on Netflix. I really enjoyed the movie, so I wanted to give my thoughts on it in this review, so let's get started. Welcome once again. My name is Austin, and on this channel, I discuss one of my favorite things in the world, movies, and how I like to tie together faith and film and everything that is in between them. So The Pale Blue Eye is a recently released Netflix movie that came out in January. It is filmed by Scott Cooper, which I've actually not seen any Scott Cooper movies. He's done a number of notable movies, and when I looked up his filmography, this will be a spoiler-free review, so if you've not seen the movie, don't worry, you can watch this movie without being given any major spoilers for the movie. I won't discuss anything other than pretty much kind of what's given through the synopsis and the trailers. But in this movie specifically, we follow a seasoned detective as he investigates multiple murders at a U.S. military academy in West Point in the year 1830. Edgar Allan Poe is a young cadet attending the academy and assists with the investigation as the truth is revealed. Now, on that hook, that alone was enough for me to be intrigued enough to want to check out this movie. So let's start things off with the cast and the performances and what I thought. So Christian Bale plays Augustus Landor. We also have Harry Melling, who plays Edgar Allan Poe in the film. And then some other notable actors and actresses. We have Lucy Boynton, who for some reason I did not recognize in the movie, but I absolutely adore her in the movie Sing Street. And then we also have Toby Jones, Robert Duvall, and some others as well. So a really interesting cast, a good collection of great actors and actresses that really came together and put in some solid performances that I really enjoyed and appreciated. Obviously, most notably, we have Christian Bale in the lead role as Landor. So I thought he just continues to show why he's one of the best actors working today. The way he can just continue to disappear into a role, even in this one where really the only main difference is just his hairstyle and the time period. I thought he really disappeared into this role well. I didn't see Christian Bale when I was watching the movie. I saw his character and his strengths, his weaknesses, his struggles that he's dealing with as he's working to solve this case, as well as work through his own personal issues. I thought he did a fantastic job in this role, and I could really feel that he was passionate about that character and his performance that he put into it. Continuing on, we also have Harry Melling, who, like I said, plays Edgar Allan Poe in this movie, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Not only does he have great chemistry with Bale, but the way that their two characters interact with each other, as well as the ways that they kind of clash on certain things, it always makes for interesting moments amongst the overall story and the scenes that they share together. He has a great way of speaking and communicating, kind of using his voice in different ways, as well as just his presence and how he carries himself throughout the role as the character. I thought just he really had a good understanding of the character's historical significance, as well as the way that they're kind of fictionalizing that character and real life person for the story and the purpose that it serves. Next, as I just mentioned, the story, we follow, like I said, the detective and Edgar Allan Poe as they're working to solve the mystery of these murders. And I love that this movie kind of presents itself on the surface as a murder mystery, as you would expect from the trailer, but there's also these twists and turns along the way to make things more complicated or more interesting, to add more complex depth to the characters, make you look at them in different light. Like I said, it looks like one thing on the surface, but as we move through the story and follow the mystery as it slowly unravels, there's more revealed about many of the different characters in the movie to make you look at them in a different light. And I thought all of that was really well done and had good pacing throughout the story as those developments come to light or those reveals are made. It also feels very authentic and genuine to the time period. As I said, it takes place in the year 1830, so I've definitely felt the authenticity of the time period. There was no time where I felt like my sense of immersion was broken while watching the movie. I was totally immersed in that time period. The characters, the lifestyle, all that kind of thing felt very authentic to me throughout the film. Next, let's discuss the filmmaking. I thought the movie had a fantastic atmosphere through its visuals, most notably its cinematography. It felt cold and brisk and dank. There was, whether it was an indoor sequence or an outdoor sequence, the landscape and the buildings that it took place in all were very tangible, and you felt like you could just reach in and touch the cold snow or feel the smooth coldness of the rock of the walls, that kind of thing. It all felt so tangible, and in this day and age, it's always nice to have a film that is willing to go to different locations and film stuff on sets and be able to make it more tangible and something that you can feel immersed and drawn into, rather than a volume stage or a green screen, that kind of thing. So I really appreciated that from the filmmaking, especially. The cinematographer for this movie was Masanobu Takayanagi, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, but from what I could tell in my research, he frequently works with Scott Cooper, so they seem like to be a really good pair, and I really did enjoy this movie visually, and it makes me want to check out some more Scott Cooper movies, especially the ones that the two of them would have collaborated on. I do want to touch briefly on the soundtrack, because it was done by Howard Shore, who's one of, if not my favorite composers. I go back and forth between Hans Zimmer and Howard Shore, but I really, really liked the soundtrack for this movie as well. The mood is very somber throughout, and there's a darkness to the music as well that really weeds itself into the mystery. And there was even moments where I felt like I recognized some brief melodies or instrumental moments where it felt like Lord of the Rings a little bit. And I always love it when a composer kind of interweaves their just style from other films and moments from other films into the soundtrack, that you could almost feel like a little bit of a Rivendell or a little bit of a Rohan amongst the music as well. And I always just appreciate that a little bit, whether it's an intentional Easter egg or not. I like when a composer, you can just immediately tell that it's them and follow along with the different like instruments and music throughout. And then lastly, the themes of this movie. Much of it kind of revolves around revenge as well, which I really think is an interesting concept to explore in any movie. But revenge is such a complicated emotion and feeling to us as humans. And I was reminded in kind of looking back on the movie and its themes of a couple of Bible verses, specifically Hebrews 10:30, which says, "For we know him who said, 'It is mine to avenge, I will repay, and again the Lord will judge his people,'" reminding us to leave our revenge at the door and not seeking out that vengeance against people, leaving those things to the Lord, as all people and their fates belong to him. And then also Leviticus 19:18, which says, "Do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against anyone among your people, but love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord." And again, just a great challenge to us as humans and people, whether we are Christian or not, to really think before we act on those feelings of revenge and vengeance, and reminding us that that's not the way we're supposed to respond to one another. We are to share love as opposed to hurtful, revengeful feelings. So that is what I thought of the movie A Pale Blue Eye. I gave the movie a 4 out of 5 or an 8 out of 10 if you go out on that scale. I thought the movie was really great. I'm probably a little more positive on it than the general consensus. It tends to be sitting around a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10 for most people, but maybe the movie hit me a bit differently than everyone else. So I really enjoyed and appreciated it. I would love to hear your thoughts on the movie in the comments down below, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.